care. Branka, would you want to tell us, quickly something about your talk, if you don't mind?
Okay, thank you. I'm from Vancouver, Canada, and I teach
Oh,
well, it's not a college level, it's CAP prep. And even earlier, years and years ago, before we panically turned remote, um, I tapped into technology. We had Blackboard and then D2L and Brightspace by D2L, and I was going with those responses. And then in 2014, there was the presentation at TESOL in Portland, and you can evaluate them. And I've been using the same thing all over again with a little bit of adjustments. And I'm a true believer in rubrics with so many students in class, and I test what I teach. So I test frequently. I mean, they have a lot of marks. It's really good to use the rubrics. The rubrics are not hidden. They are always accessible to the students. So practically they are so detailed that they are the guide as well as evaluation. So with this online class, I wanted to teach similar to face-to-face. So I would ask a lot of breakout rooms, a lot of collaboration. And I've been using mainly discussion option in Brightspace, where I would set up students with small groups that they are their own group. And research shows if you use it in writing, that there is that time that you can formulate your thought and that it produces a higher order learning. And that is what I wanted at a higher level to get to that creative analysis evaluation type, not necessarily just to retell what has happened in class. So every time that there is class material, there is a response to it. And I'm also kind of controlling how many words or sentences there are. I do not want that they just dump on you, because they sometimes see the platform as social media. No. It has to be an academic level writing, and through collaboration, they can together or mark each other using the same criteria.
Okay, that's extremely interesting. Thank you so much for your contributions and interest. Great job. How about Elizabeth? Let's move on. Thank you.
Hopefully it's me, Elizabeth, and there's not another one I'm missing.
Well, it's you, Elizabeth.
Yes. So this presentation I did in 2018, so I got to do it in person. And at that time, there were relatively few programs that could do auto captioning. But now there's a lot more programs that will do auto captioning. And Google just announced last week or the week before that it'll auto caption any videos on the Google webpage. So this is really exciting time. So I focused my session, my 10 minutes, on activities that you can do. So there are, some helps in the handout that you can get that's linked in the video on how to actually auto caption. But yes, so this is really exciting for me because our language learners sometimes are hesitant to speak to us in person, but they might be more willing to just record themselves and then they can get it auto captioned, either YouTube or another speech to text program, and they can see how is my speech matching up. And then we can also add additional activities, which I speak about in the video, to help students with listening comprehension so they can find where auto captions are incorrect when watching videos, which is a great activity. And then you can just expand from there.
Fascinating. You're right. More and more, there are more of these auto captioning sites. I was using some of that in the former job that I was in. Thank you so much. Moving along. Thank you. Maria, Ammar.
Hi, Maria.
Hi, Maria.
So my presentation I did probably in 2018, 2019, and I just focused on Ally, that accessibility app that's in Canvas and also in Blackboard. But I just added to my presentation this time that if people don't have access to Ally, because I know when I gave my presentation, a lot of individuals who came up to me said, we don't have access to Canvas, we don't have Blackboard. And so there's definitely things that individuals can do. They can go to, there's lots of resources out there, free resources to make your online courses accessible. And also there's just a lot of information to help you learn, a lot of free resources. So that's what my presentation was about.
Maria, you're muted.
Sorry. Ally is for reducing the site or not?
Ally is on, it's an app that's on Canvas and on Blackboard that helps support the teacher to make sure that everything is more accessible.
Gotcha.
So it you know, it'll show you things that you may need to improve on, and then it'll actually give you an instruction, step-by-step instructions on what to do to improve it.
Perfect. Thank you for that very much. All right, Deb.
Okay, I did my presentation on Adobe Spark Pages and how easy it is for students to create gorgeous websites and upload photos. And I use them in class for various activities, but they have an assignment to write make a photo essay, and they actually incorporate some outside sources and they do some other things with it. But it really is a great way, especially in the time of Zoom, for students to get to know each other and know their backgrounds and to be the expert on what they're talking about. So we just had a lot of fun with websites that talk about anything from what their experience has been traveling to the US and moving to the US, to sports they're into, foods they love to cook, anything. So it's been a really good experience, and it is free for students to access.
Sounds, and they enjoy it, obviously, right?
Oh, yeah, it's fun. And
They
it really
love
gives
it.
them tools that they use in other classes later too, because they can use the suite for all kinds of things. So
Makes sense. Great. Appreciate your talk. Thank you.
Oh, you were muted again.
No, I'm not muted.
You were muted when you invited the next person, and then you unmuted.
Oh, okay. Cynthia, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Sorry,
Hi.
my bad.
Now I can.
I
I
apologize.
wasn't ignoring you.
Okay.
I talked about developing and using a field-specific corpus. I've seen a lot of things on doing corpora, and mainly they were using AntConc, and I just learned about Lanxbox recently, and I just used a few features from it. So I decided to not just talk about how to make ideas to use the corpus, but with a different tool that I have not heard much about before.
Oh, that sounds great. And you found it obviously very helpful.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes, incredibly helpful. Yes, and there's a
Okay.
lot of documentation, a lot of help on how to use it. So
Yeah.
I'm sure other people probably have used it, but yeah, that was my 2 cents.
All righty. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's go to Amy Watson.
Hello, my presentation is about an asynchronous grammar course that I have developed, and I go over Canvas tools for increasing engagement through what I call the 2 C's, communication and consistency, that will keep students more engaged and save you time. So for example, using built-in features in the Canvas gradebook where you can message groups of students individually. So say all students who didn't meet a deadline or who didn't meet a proficiency level, you can send them all individual messages suggesting resources. And also I recommend just checking in with your students to see how they actually access and use the LMS. So I found, for example, a little feature in Canvas that lets you make a box where students can check off what they've done. And for me, it didn't seem like a big deal, but when I didn't do that, students said, we use that checklist to help us, you know, when we access the course, see what we need to do. So I have some little tips and tricks like that I've accumulated over the years in teaching this course.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. If anybody has questions or wants to put, you know, links in chat or anything like that, please go right ahead. I know we're still short, a little bit short on time. Great job. Silvia.
Hi, I'm Silvia Laborde. I'm from Montevideo, Uruguay, and I'm director at one of the branches of our binational center. And the aim of my presentation, I talked about 3 tools online: English, Pro Writing Aid, and oh God, another one that will come to my mind right away. But the purpose of my presentation is actually to use these tools to show how any tool that we find on the internet, which is so overwhelming, is full of tools, we should really adapt to suit our pedagogical tenets. And so I give a little rubric, and I hope that these 3 examples show how you can use anything really on the internet as long as it adapts to your class, your beliefs.
Great. Appreciate your work. Sounds interesting. Thank you.
Thank
Let's
you.
move. How about Rana?
Hello, Maria. So my presentation was about Google Docs. So I started using Google Docs basically when I came into contact with TESOL, CPC. So my first exposure was with them. And then I found out that it was a very helpful tool to be used in classes as well. So before the COVID thing, I had already started using them in classes, and I found them very useful because, you know, I could watch over them both synchronously as well as asynchronously while they were doing work in class in groups. I could see and I could point out them if there were some errors in the work and tell them how to correct it. And but especially when the pandemic happened, so I mean their importance grew further. So I realized I could use them more to make them feel as if I'm physically present there and watching over them. So it was really good. And I've been using them a lot in my classes, especially for teaching writing, group work, collaboration. And I even use sometimes Google Slides. So Google Slides are very helpful when you have collaborative projects. They have make group presentations. So they really use these things, you know. So it's really helpful for my students.
Great. I'm sure a lot of people here have a lot of things they could add about the beauty of Google Docs. Thank you, Rana.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, Christine, you're up. Christine Kitson.
Sorry, Christina. So I didn't know you were talking to me.
Oh, pardon, my mistake.
I actually had 2 presentations. So the first one was on computerizing a placement test remotely.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one was on using online digital portfolios, both as a teacher and as an assignment for class. And I think that's the one that's probably a little more interesting just because, I don't know, testing is testing. And I think at this point, we've actually gotten pretty good at doing testing online, comparatively speaking. But with online portfolios, I think that the biggest part was to make sure that people realize that this is a valid option for assessing our students as well as our own uses. I can't tell you the number of times people have mentioned, well, I wish I had everything in one place. You know, every time you go to do something, it's like you go back to your CV, realize you haven't updated it in 2 years, and you don't have a record of all these other things that don't really fit on a CV. But that's where a personal portfolio is really nice because you can put everything related that you think is important and you can organize it however you want. And it could be something that then you can, depending upon how your school works with promotions and things like that, you might be able to use it at your school, but you might also then be able to at least use it to pull all the information from when you do something official. And I like using it with my teacher ed students because I basically make them show me that they've met the standards for the course. So they, you know, have a standard and then they show me the work that shows that standard has been met. So I get to see if they actually understand the standard well enough to show me the things they think fits the standard, but then I can also see it all in one place. So it's not hunting through. I like Google, but it's not always as easy in Google. And so the portfolio is nice and you can use Google to make the portfolio. I made my own using Google and I just have links to everything. So you have to click on the link to go to the actual document. But it's also really easy to build a website. And then with student teachers and teacher candidates, the nice thing is they have that as a personal portfolio they leave with that has evidence of their meeting standards and how they met standards, and they can keep it up as they continue through the profession.
Perfect. Wow. Sounds so interesting. And you're also teaching teachers, so obviously extremely useful, right? Thank you. Thank you, Christina. We appreciate all your work. All right, Brooke, it's your up now. Ms. Stephens. Brooke, we don't hear you. Okay. There's no audio, Brooke. Oh, I'm going to move on to Ulisse and then we'll come back. Okay. If you can fix the audio issue. Thank you.
All right. Hi, everybody. So I'm Ulisse. I'm from Brazil. And my talk was about the use of free recording apps with sound waves to help students or learners with intonation. So by the analysis of the waves, we could identify pitch or features of connected speech and etc. So here in Brazil, native language is Portuguese and it's quite flat. So when you transfer that to English, it's it may come out a bit weird, and that could lead to misunderstanding or miscommunication. So that was it.
Okay, great. Sounds great for your students for pronunciation and all that. So many languages, right,
yeah.
are flat.
Quite helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Ulisse. Brooke, are you audio ready now? Where is she? Don't know. How about Philip? Philip Rice? He got on probably at the same time I did.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I went through two sites, readtheory.org and ReadLang. But basically, Read Theory is the greatest thing about it is it can be a placement tool, an assessment tool, and a practice for your students as well. So the idea is, first thing that happens is students get placed by their system on a Lexile level and a grade level. So it's very, and then it adapts. It's very adaptive. And so I've never seen anything free that does all of that so well. So it's basically, I encourage anyone who's involved in placing students, or if your institution doesn't have a lot of resources in kind of gauging students' reading proficiency, I really recommend it. And then ReadLang is basically all vocab. So it's building vocab and retaining it and practicing it through websites so that it makes every website clickable for vocab. So the first tool is comprehension, second is vocabulary. So I just encourage you to check those out, especially if you have limited resources. And that's it.
Thank you, Philip. I think I'm going to check it out. I have working with Japanese students right now who need vocabulary desperately. Great. Let me see, who else do we have who has to present? Did I forget anybody here? Christine Wingate, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
Hi, so my presentation was about a tool that I shared at the developers showcase about 2 years ago. It's been in about consistent development for about 3 years. It's a website called American English Sounds, and this is just a practice site for ESL pronunciation. I was seeing, especially among my ITA students, a need for independent practice where they could just work through the sounds of English on their own without anxiety and focus on the ones that they need. So it can be very individualized, but it basically presents the tools that, or the same kind of content that a textbook would, as far as there's explanation, there's perception activities, there's a word list and sentence list for them to just practice repetition, but then each sound will also have a speaking prompt that they can record and send back to a teacher. And so the difference from a textbook is it's free and it's all in one place. So you don't have just your textbook here and then your audio CD you have to put in, or a website to access. It's all on the same site. And an update from 2 years ago is that there's now videos as well. So they can actually see what the mouth is supposed to do for each sound. So I'll put the link for that in the chat.
We appreciate that very, very much, Christine. Great. Brooke, are we there now?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yay.
Right.
Okay. So my presentation was on Story Labs. It's a free learning management system where teachers can put in all their favorite ed tech, and it's embedded with little check boxes next to whatever they've put in, and it tracks how much time they spent on it. So the teacher can say, go in and put it in and use it. And also there's a publishing feature where if you just have a Google Doc, you download it as an EPUB and they can't copy and paste the text. So that they can't put it into Google Translate. And you can also add audio, which you can record. So that was the presentation, and it was basically building it around story. So we have templates, story templates, where all the pictures are done and then with English, and then you could add on whatever language. So I was teaching women from Syria and Afghanistan, and they would record the audio in their own language for the Quizlet cards. So because they were illiterate, and so it was easier to have that. So we have pre-done materials, and we just copy the book and you put the second language or their first language in if you'd like. So
cool. Very nice. Do we have any questions for any of these presenters so far? I know we've been, moving on a little fast here. So we have Carlos Tavera, I believe, up next.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, with some background noise. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm at my workplace. That's the reason why.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. Okay. Well, hello. My name is Carlos Tavera. I am from Colombia. I uploaded a video on Flipgrid. That video is related to the use of a platform that I think you know, which is Edmodo. Does anyone know about the platform?
Say the name again, please.
Edmodo.
Yes, I have used it and I'm using it.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. So we have been using it for a really long time before the online classes, and now we are using it in different approaches that we are using here in our institution. I work for a binational center in a city called Manizales, Colombia. This platform has been really useful, okay, for peer interaction, for assessment techniques. We have been using it we have a network here in our institution, and we can also share different material. Yeah, so this platform has been really, really useful, as I told you.
Excellent. Good job. And you said you were working, I think you were working with people outside in less developed areas. Is that right?
That's right. I mean, we have worked with people from the rural sector, the rural places here in Colombia. We have had some difficulties, especially with the online environment that we are working now. Because there has been a lot of inequality in terms of resources, equipment that those people have in order to connect to class. So Edmodo has helped us in a way to get that gap, like, I don't know, a little bit closer. You know?
I see. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. So I'm not sure if I've overlooked anyone, like in our crowd here, in our group. Arturo, do you have a presentation you want to share with us?
Yes, of course. Hello,
Yes.
everybody.
Hi.
I'm an English teacher. I'm Peruvian English teacher.
Yes.
So usually I work with WhatsApp, only WhatsApp, because my students have struggled with their internet connection is a big problem here. But we have the solutions. We, as a teachers, we have the solution because we always try to give them the support. We always try to give them different ideas how to manage, how to do the class, how to do the activities. It's great here because my students are great students, and today I only want to give them the best.
Very nice. Great. Thank you so much. We have about 1 minute left because there is another presentation group about to enter. I just want to find out if I have overlooked anyone who, I don't think so. I appreciate your time, your enthusiasm, your interest in, contributing so much to the electronic village. And I think given what you've heard today and what we see in the chat, then we'll have lots of things to brush up on and learn more about. So I'd like to thank you all for coming. Again, I apologize for the late, arrival. However, I think we managed to learn a lot. So thank you so much. Good luck. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the conference, and I appreciate your being here today. Thank you. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.